Hey everyone, Maury Curtis Dunbar here. I'm a guest retailer for Artistic Painting Studio and Jennifer Ferguson, and I am here to introduce you to the wonders of our new Harvest Gold and Silver Lining foils. Now these look like standard gold and silver foils, but they are not. They are unique in that they are gold or silver on both sides of the foil, and that allows you to do something that people have been requesting but we haven't been able to accomplish in the past, which is put gold or silver behind glass or on something transparent and have it show through. Usually you would see the backing of a foil, see it the blank areas. It doesn't show the pattern. This now does. So I got a little bit ahead of time to play with it and create some fun things. I did this plate, which I am in love with. And I'm going to show you step by step how I did this. Now, today we're not using a plate. We're going to use one of these little fish bowls that I got from the dollar store. And you can put like a votive candle in here, and this is going to be so, so pretty. So the first thing we're going to do is flip our camera down so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to take a little alcohol. This is very, very, very important that you do this. And a paper towel. And I keep my alcohol in a spray bottle just because it makes my life easier. I'm going to take alcohol and clean this. This is going to be above and beyond dishwasher clean. It needs to be so clean that it squeaks, because glass is a really hard surface to do this. And especially when you pick these up, you know, dozens of people have handled these in the store. They've been handled at the manufacturer, at the packing, all of that. So it needs to be clean, clean, clean. And I'm going over this because there was a sticker on the bottom, so I don't want any surface failure. And we know foil adhesive on glass takes extra time to set up. So I'm going to take this off my hand. I'm going to handle it with the paper towel so my hand doesn't get stuck in there. And I'm going to use some Artsyville foil adhesive. No, this is not how it comes. Let me share with you my jars of foil adhesive. We're going to use our Artsyville foil adhesive. This comes in 4-ounce, 10-ounce quarts and gallon containers. Today, I just happen to have a studio jar because I had a big gallon. I poured it into a little jar just to keep it from going icky in the whole gallon, because that's how I work, and anybody who's ever watched me knows I get things messy. I'm going to take, if I can reach one, a brush. I'm going to put my hand in here because I don't want to get anything on that surface that I just cleaned. I'm going to dip into my foil adhesive. I'm going to also zoom in so you can see a little better. Just a sec. See what I'm doing a little better. Sorry, paintbrush between the teeth. All right. I am going to paint the entire surface. Notice I'm not doing the bottom yet. That's going to help me get my hand out of here. I'll get that last. Now, I could have gone from the inside, but that makes it a little harder to use because I want this to glow from the inside and from the outside. So I'm getting the entire surface, going carefully. I'm smoothing my brush strokes out as well as humanly possible because I am using a brush. And I'll brush over this a few times just to make sure I can get it as well covered and smooth as I can, because we know Artsyville foil adhesive does not level. It's not a self-leveling product. So however you apply it, that's how it's going to show. And I'm actually being more careful applying this now than I did when I did the testers, because I kind of slapped it on not knowing what would happen. All right, I'm going to take this. I'm going to pull my hand out carefully. I'm going to set this down, and then I'm going to do the bottom. Looks like there's a little, yep, there's a little piece of something there, so I'm going to get that out. Don't want that in my final result. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is let this dry overnight. Because glass is a tough surface. Let me close my fancy jar. Yes, you can see it's labeled even foil adhesive. Because this is a hard surface, we want this to dry completely and fully. So we're going to let this cure overnight. When we come back, we'll apply the first layer of foil to it. Okay, we're back now, and this has set up overnight, and we have a couple of options. We could go straight onto the glass with the gold, and if we wanted to, we could put a pattern on the outside, or we could put a pattern that comes inside when the light reflects, and then put more gold over it, and that's what I think we're going to do. We're going to use our Portia gold. Now, this is not the side that's going to show inside, and that's fine. This is the side that's going to show, and that actually is going to look really nice reflected by maybe a votive candle or something like that. So I'm going to cut some smaller pieces because I have discovered that with a shape this round, the pattern often gets all crunched up, and we're going to try to avoid that. So I'm cutting a couple of smaller pieces, and we'll start there. So we're going to put this on here, lay it out. First we're going to get the bottom, and then I'm going to try to carefully get some of the pattern smoothed on the side, but it is going to be wrinkly. That is just the nature of dealing with foils on a rounded surface. Foil's flat, the bowl is domed. It's not going to be perfect, but we're going to see whether we can get some nice pattern release here and move on. Now we're going to take our little scrubber brush. We're going to go everywhere here. I'm spinning the paper around just like I'm spinning this thing around. Now I'm trying not to get to the edges just because I want a blurred edge so that I can release more pattern on here and have it go on super easy without too many harsh lines. But let's see what we'll get there. I can give a little pressure there for where some of the creases were. Let's see. See, this is releasing really, really nicely here, because we did let that foil adhesive set up so well. So already that's cool. So you can see that pattern on the outside, and if you look inside, you'll see it is more silvery, and that will reflect if you wanted to put a tea light in there really nicely. So let's finish this up, and then we're going to put another layer of foil adhesive on here. Why? Because we're going to use our new double-sided gold on this. But first we're going to get an under pattern, because I wanted to show you how you can get a pattern and then a backed metallic on here. And this is going to be so pretty together. And that little bit of golden haze that happens on here is going to be just perfect for the final look. So don't worry about that. We like that already. All right, I can get my hand in there. Give a little scrub here. Peel that back. And again, we're not looking for perfection on here. Foil doesn't do that on round surfaces. It just does not. But we're getting a really nice result with this. So here we go. Oops. Get that smoothed on. And I really, had to think about what under pattern I wanted to put under this that would enhance the gold. And there's a lot of things, but I didn't want to do the same thing as I've done before. So I wanted to try something a little different here. Okay, so now we have that. Now this is nice on its own. On the outside, that would be pretty as well, but that's not what we're going for. We're going to make it really gorgeously gold. So we're going to take some of our Artsyville foil adhesive again. We're going to paint another layer on. And again, because we're dealing with glass, and now I'm re-wetting the whole surface, I'm going to tell you to wait overnight before applying any more foil here. We want to make sure that we have as secure a bond because glass is a tough, tough surface. So let's get that all brushed on, nice and smooth. Sorry if I keep going a little out of camera. I've got it so zoomed in that if I move my arm, I go off camera. Again, I probably should have done the bottom after I did that. So now I'm sticking my finger in wet foil adhesive because I'm that smart. Let's go over that base again. Just making sure I got the lip and everything else. Smoothing out my foil adhesive for the best result possible because as we all know, foil adhesive does not level. And if you don't know, I'm sharing that information now. Foil adhesive does not self-level. So you want to apply it as smoothly as possible for best results. All right, I think I have it all covered. We'll find out tomorrow if I missed a spot. All right, we're gonna let this dry. I'm gonna let this sit up and dry overnight now. Okay, so now we're back. Our Portia Gold is on here. You can see that pattern. That's the pattern I want to have showing on the inside of this little fish bowl. However, of course, it's going to show silvery because that's the way the back of Portia Gold looks. You can see that. I knew that going in, but I did want that little bit of the gold colored haze to go on there. And we're going to come with our brand new Harvest Gold foil, the two-sided gold foil. Now I have this rolled in a specific way so that I know which side is actually designed to go down to the adhesive. When we send this to you, we send you with little pieces of tape on it so you know which side does not go to the adhesive. All right, so I'm going to do this in small pieces because I'll get better coverage. Again, another little trick I've learned on round surfaces. So we're going to set this down, and you may not be able to see it, but this foil is actually fairly transparent. I can actually see my fingers through it and see the item through it as I hold it. It's sort of like very fine gold leaf. So first thing I'm going to do is push it down with my fingers. Now, you may want 2 coats of this on here if you want it more opaquely gold. This is going to give a kind of sheer fractured gold on this at this level, but it's so pretty. Now, do not use a scrub brush or a toothbrush or anything harsh on this. Use your fingers and use a cloth. You want to rub this to get this down. If you use a scrubber, you will have scrub marks in this foil. That's how delicate this one is. It's a unique situation. So here you go. Here it is coming off. You can see how much of it transferred. That's a lot. I might go back in, see if I got a little spot that needs a little extra coverage. And on the inside now, you see that gold. So we're going to do the rest of this, and then you'll get to see the gold all through it. All right, I'm going to come piece by piece here, slowly going to get as much smooth coverage on here as possible. What happens, something round like this, it takes a little more work to get really smooth coverage. I did this one thing with the silver, And I've got this great mercury glass finish on it, but this is only one layer, and that's because it's all crinkled. If I wanted a second coating on here to make it more silver, that's what I do. But this has this terrific mercury glass look to it, which I really love. On this bowl, we're going to try for a little more solid coverage. And see how easy this peels back? The release on this is very, 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 very easy. All right, come in here, go over a few spots that have sort of broken coverage. This is why I discovered, you know, you learn things as you do this, and one of the things that I learned is it's better to do on a small round object like this, little pieces. I get much more foil released much better. All right, so you can see now my coverage is very good right there. Okay, where's the rest of my foil? It's over here. I might need a little more, but I might not, so I'm kind of hoping that this is enough. I cut a good sized piece, which quite frankly should wrap around this whole thing and would give 100% if I did it, but now I'm doing it in pieces, so, you know, there's always a little concern that I don't have enough. All right, let's put this down again. I'm just laying it down carefully and smoothing it with my fingers. The release on this is extraordinarily easy. Okay, coming back in with my cloth to give it a burnish. Whoop, slid out of my hand. Wow. And see, again, we're getting that really clear, easy peel off there. Let me come back in here where there's a little bit of a fold. Get every spot I can. And then we have a little more still to do. Okay, here's another spot. And I'm taking my time. I don't want to rush this because I make my life harder when I rush things. Okay, again. I think the back of that stuck. This likes to roll up too, so watch that. It's a little like B-mask films in that it just likes to kind of roll back on itself, so it's a little annoying. But that's nothing that can't be managed. Foils can roll back on themselves. Again, I'm rubbing this with a cloth, not a scrubber, to avoid scratches. Oh, that's really nice. Okay, let me come back in. Just a few spots. Need a little touch up here and there. So already on the outside, this is just beautiful. Let's get and I can see the any broken spots that you all might not be able to see on camera just because the way the light's hitting it. Okay, so now my outside is solid looking gold, but I will show you also from the inside. So inside here now, you can see the Porsche pattern in that silver from the back of the gold Porsche, but it is enhanced with that little bit of extra gold haze from that foil. And we also now have the gold itself showing through. Now, I don't know how well this is going to show on camera, but because the light's actually bouncing back. But if I look in here, naturally I see that this is not 100% solid, because I warned you it's very sheer too. So if I needed it more opaque, I'd apply a second layer of foil adhesive and another layer of gold, and that would give me a near flawless finish. So this now is ready to be used. Oops, put it in the camera so you can see it. And then I'm going to open my screen up a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about with the plates and that sort of thing. So over here, I have the test plates that I had done before. This one has one layer of gold on it, and if you look closely at the back, you might be able to see where it's a little broken, a little thin, and so on the second test plate, I did 2 layers. Now, to make these usable and food safe, I don't use a regular top coat on these. I also did this on a couple of champagne glasses. I will apply, because I haven't decided if I'm going to use this as for food or if I'm going to use this as a candle holder. I know me, I'll probably use this as a candle holder. But also, this has got to be protected one way or the other. So if you're not using it for food, Jennifer's final coat on here would be great, or you can use whatever top coat is your favorite. Mine happens to be from Faux Effects. However, on something like this where there is going to be food, I used 2-part epoxy and I brushed it on. I didn't pour it on, I didn't puddle it on, I didn't allow it to drip over the side. I brushed on a very thin coat. I used a sponge brush that I cut down to the size I needed and applied a very, very thin coat. And I did test this to see if it was going to drip down the edges, and there were no drips. Applying a thin coat of epoxy is the way to go for anything that you're using, like with wine glasses or stuff like that. Again, I did this on wine glasses. Back up to me for a minute. I did the same thing on wine glasses. I brushed on an extremely thin coat over the foil, and I purposely let it dry to see if it would run. It did not run. Again, thin, thin, thin. You cannot apply the epoxy to this thickly. You have to brush it on. If it needs a second coat, then brush on a second coat. Same with using a regular top coat, but I had to share how beautiful this came out. And again, I'm going to take you really in close so you can see both those patterns in there. So you can see the gold, which makes the silver backed Porsche gold just glow. I am so pleased with this. I can't wait to give it a test, see how I like a candle in here. I am so happy with this. I did something similar to this many years ago with copper leaf for my sister's wedding, and if I had had this foil, this would have saved me so much. This would have been such a great way to go for the votive holders for her wedding. All right, everybody, thank you for your time. We're going to put these down, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I'm here for you. All right, everyone, bye-bye.